Hello everybody, Ninjas here and welcome back to Wistoria, episode 11, the penultimate one, in which we will see a fight with the dragon, or whatever that thing is. It's like a... they had like a specific name for it. Duke? Duke of something, I think. But the headless guy and his friend called it just the Duke, so I'm just gonna say it's the Duke, and that's what we're gonna fight in today's episode. Everybody's here, everybody's gonna be kung fu fighting, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I have a safe assumption where it goes, right? They defeat the Duke, of course, but we'll see how exactly, and we'll see what exactly this episode's gonna be, right? What happened in the previous one to get us to this point, into this situation? Well, it started with Will going through the dungeon with Wignall and having a little bit of a conversation about, about Wignall, about his past, about his motivations, about his connection to, what's her face, to Eleanor, right? And we heard the details about why Wignall is a... what do they always call Will? It starts with L. Huh. I forgot. I'm just gonna say loser. Yeah, why Wignall turned out to be the loser of the elves. Apparently, elves' usual illusion, quote-unquote magic, is not so much illusion, because it's not an illusion. It has an actual, like, body and physicality to it, right? So, kind of hard to call a stone summoned by an elf an illusion if that elf then grabs that stone, throws it at you, and cracks your skull open, right? It's not really an illusion, is it? It's more like summoning magic or creation magic or whatever, right? Unfortunately, compared to those very physical illusions, quote unquote again, Wignall's illusions are illusions. They have no physicality to them. Whenever he creates a wall of fire, that fire is not actually hot. Whenever he creates a tree, you can just walk through it and it gives you absolutely no resistance. And that is what made him a... almost had the word that they use for will. Fuck. Yeah, I'm not gonna dwell on that. That's what makes him on the, like, the bottom tier of elven society, right? And Will, of course, all the time tells him that no, you are actually, like, amazing. You're a great elf. You don't beat yourself down. To which Wignall, of course, replies that no, I am actually bad. I actually can't do anything. And so it goes. So it goes until they are faced with a very... first of all, they are faced with many other enemies that Will defeats very easily. Laggard! Laggard is the word I was looking for. Yeah, Laggard. Laggard. Right, Will was defeating all of those monsters easily, and Wignall was getting a little bit more... disillusioned with himself, right? Because a laggard like Will, without any magic or anything, can defeat those monsters, and here he is without proper illusion magic, apparently, right? And it wasn't until they met a very specific monster, a monster that specifically resists or just completely ignores physical attacks, resists magic to the point where magic is basically useless against them, unless it's like some super high tier magic. Maybe, like, I can see Elfie maybe not having issue with those monsters. I don't know, we know that Elfie went quite deep into the dungeon. They are susceptible to elven illusion magic. How convenient. Or, well, inconvenient for them, because Wignall presumably cannot use it. But he got a nice bit of pep talk from Will. Will revealed, or was it after? I think it might have been after. But Will, in any case, did reveal that he got motivated to never giving up and to always training and to always getting better by observing Wignall. Always training, always being motivated, always trying to get better. Right? So they just kind of had a way to like uplift each other, because after the pep talk, Wignall was able to use his elven magic for the first time, and it was quite a splendid view. All those like tendrils of wood forming this like barbed mess of branches and trunks. Where Wignall kind of unknowingly uplifted Will a little bit and gave him motivation, now it was turn for Will to give Wignall motivation, and it really worked out very nicely for the both of them, to the point where Wignall was willing to give his hand to Will. Yes, we did witness some nice hand holding from them. Plus one member to William's harem. And they set off to search for the rest, with Wignall's search with Kiki's nose, and they found them soon enough. In the meantime, Sion and Julius were also fighting against some monsters. Julius being kind of a scaredy cat, right? Just kind of hiding and being scared of, like, we shouldn't be here. It's not like the academy grounds. We should be running. Meanwhile, Sion was very, like, good in that situation. Like, he figured, okay, well, my search is useless. Let's use, like, heat vision spell. That will allow me to see the enemy approaching. And it did, actually. Where Julius wanted to run away, Sion said, no. Like, I have so much frustration and anger built into me, and those are living punching bags walking at me. Come the fuck at me, bro. And he went out there and did a number of those enemies. Julius helped, of course, with his clones and ice magic, but Sion burned a fair bit of them to a crisp. And then they met up with Will's group and went to look for Colette and Liana. Colette and Liana, in the meantime, were talking mostly. They didn't really meet much opposition in the shape of any monsters or enemies, not until the very end. But they got to talk about, themselves as like a group, right? That they are not really the cream of the crop of the school. No, they're like the rejects, essentially, because if someone's good, then Magyavander scouts them early, and they leave the school after the first or the second or the third year or whichever. But they are here in their last year, I believe, and the tower didn't scout them. So yeah, they're good, but they're not good. They are in the like middle between like good and bad. They are the worst of the best ones and the best ones of the worst ones, essentially, which makes them collectively a very interesting group. And it's actually like a very cool way of like looking at it, because usually in such a like magical academy setting, whenever someone is in their last year and they are at the top of the academy, well, of course they build their position throughout the years, and they got finally to the status of one of the 17 knights of the Blorbo Academy, or whatever title they get, right? But not in this case, because if you're good, you leave the school early, and that's such a cool concept, and I really, really like it. So they got to talking, and eventually they met Marze and Kubinashi, or the Headless One, and they got to talk a little bit to them as well. Mostly it was Marze and the Headless One doing the talking. Headless One threw the head of one of their teachers, which had hidden promptly squashed. And then they introduced themselves, right? That was very nice of them. Listen, we're just your normal, everyday, friendly neighborhood villains. right? There's nothing much to that. We're not like the demon lord or anything. No, we're just your regular villains. We just want to collapse the barrier that's keeping the fucking forces of chaos from entering this world. No biggie, really. After which the Headless One tried to decapitate Colette and Liana. Thankfully, Will and the rest arrived just in time. Will parried that magic slice. They talked a little bit more, and while Headless One was preparing to fight and we're gonna have some fun, he got dragged away by Marze, by his collar, and instead he summoned Duke in his place. So our team is not gonna be fighting Headless and Marze, they're gonna be fighting the Duke. Which means I assume that Headless and Marze are gonna be recurring villains, or at least they're gonna recur once more, at the very least. Presumably more, I don't know, we'll see what they do with them. And yeah, that's where we are. Oh, in the meantime, Eddie Boy and Werkner saved some students from rampaging monsters. They showed some very nice teamwork. It was actually really nice to see that besides those inter-school politics and I like this student and I don't like this student and you should be more, more whatchamacallit, more hard with your students, you're too soft and stuff like that. When shit hits the fan, they actually behave like, proper professionals. They actually work together. There's not even any banter between them, right? Perfectly task-oriented. It was, again, super cool to see, because usually, again, in a setting like that, you have the good teacher and the bad teacher, and the bad teacher and the good teacher don't like each other. Maybe there's some bad blood between them, right? But the bad teacher would never grab the hand of the good one, or, right? The chemistry, right? Not this. Not like this. Good shit. I really, really like it. I think I already said something to that effect, but many people criticize this show for being just, normal and nothing particularly new and just kind of retreading old schemes and stuff like that, which, I mean, to a degree that is true, but how many fresh, new, original stories can you possibly think of? But I disagree, because it has those tiny little bits and pieces here and there that really give it some of that, unique flavor. It's like drinking a cup of cocoa, and it's just a cup of cocoa. You've had many cups of cocoa, but this one has a sprinkle of chili in it, right? It's still a cup of cocoa, but it's kind of sort of new with just that little sprinkle. And that's basically what this show is to me. So how about we see what happens in today's episode, right? I suppose we're gonna fight the Duke. And I suppose we're gonna take the whole entire episode to show this fight. I think so. I don't know, but we'll see. Right? We'll see about it, but to do that, you're gonna need your sorry for the cut. You're gonna have you're gonna want your subs, of course. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 11 of Wistoria in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, starting with the opening. I said everything I had to say, so you don't really have anything for the opening. The city where I live is no longer in danger of flooding, for the time being at least. I guess that's something that I can talk about. Like this video and subscribe. There we go. Click the bell icon. Yeah, for a time, I was actually incorporating the bit about like and subscribe into the episode itself instead of in the like pre-episode talk. I never actually analyzed if it brought like any more like likes and subscriptions than just doing that before the episode. I don't know, like supposedly that sort of call to action reminding the viewers to like and subscribe works, so like and subscribe. The 1/1000th rule. Meaning? Okay. Interesting. So 270k points, basically. Does anybody of them... Like, they might have 270,000 points combined between them, right? I think so. Is Will striving for 100k or for 10k? I can't remember, actually. Yeah, probably a good call. Oh, don't you try to, like, sacrifice yourself or something, Wignall. Okay, stop him briefly. Okay, no self-sacrifice. I mean, yeah, it's just wood in the end. Like, I don't think your illusion trees are made of, I don't know, tungsten or whatever. The cable is all sorts of twisted. The Duke! Haven't you been paying attention? Apt name, gotta say that. Yeah, we're still quite a bit higher than that. Probably. Right, the gate. Apparently, like some super high tier magic of the like wizard queen or whatever. No fight with Duke after all. So far, at least. Okay, so monsters have some sort of a hierarchy. Interesting. Don't be so loud. You can try, like, digging up. I mean, Colette has earth magic. Presumably she could dig a way up. Okay, so we are fighting the Duke, but on our terms. Cool, I like it. Yeah, makes sense. Cut off the head of the snake. I actually like don't see that logic entirely, but sure. Sion and Wignall. Great music. Eliana. Sion, of course, as I said. Yeah. It's not like I'm doing it for you, Baka. Ooh. Okay. those two are not mutually exclusive. There's no reason that tank can't be the raid leader, right? Okay. They're gonna have to add like a 5th large throne to the tower for Will. Yeah, we also need your strength. Oh. Well, that's tempting, isn't it? Okay, so not quite a dragon. Like a humanoid dragon-looking dude. Like a gargoyle thing, right? Okay, that's a lot of clones. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. The rest can finish the incantation. Yeah. I mean, only you can do that, Julius. It had to be you. Okay. What's Liana doing in the meantime? We haven't seen her. I mean, yeah, those were like low tier spells. I'm assuming that's the weak spot. The gem on his chest. Okay, so just don't hit the wings. Okay. Sound plan. Distract the raid boss until the mages have the time to buff up and chant their like ultimate spell or whatever. Let me guess. Unharmed. Not unharmed, but still alive. You use thunder and water conducts electricity? No, just oh, right, it's not gonna be able to parry or block. Yep. Magic shield. Didn't quite predict that. Oh, yeah. I'm assuming they set it up ahead of time. Headless and the other guy. Tentacles. Or just beams. Well, shit, there go the goggles. Huh. Magical attributes. Oh, so dark is one of the magical attributes, gotcha. But it's not, like, recognized anywhere. I don't think they teach dark magic at school. And we haven't seen anybody use dark magic besides Ed Boy and the headless and the other guy. Yeah, it's not gonna be easy to fight with. I don't actually know what's up with his eyes. Oh, nothing wrong with his eyes, everything wrong with the fact that he just had a memento of Elfie destroyed. Well, but I say memento as if Elfie is dead, but you know what I mean. A very important item for him. No, I don't think so. We need every seat of the Magia Vander taken, and you're the electricity. Because you're reckless? So yeah, basically. Friends. Very good question. Continue to fight or run and leave them for basically certain death. Yeah, that is some powerful magic, but not quite powerful enough. Oh, yeah. Interesting, I thought that it, like, whatchamacallit, like, morphed his body to move the crystal from... But no, it just ripped off the restraints. Oh? Gotcha. I mean, presumably Rosti can fix them. So it's basically like a safety blankie for him. Okay, Sion is no weakling, being able to just foist him like that. Yes, actually, yeah. Oh, damn. There we go. Will is back. Oh, that was easy. Just punch him and he powers up. It certainly beats, like, pure power of the Nakama. Good question, Sion. Very good question. Yeah, but he's also brave. Of course not. Yeah, and with a sword you need to get close. I would not call him a weakling. I think that's, you know, a little too far. He might not be the best mage, and that would be an understatement, but he's no weakling. he has the constitution of a dwarf, so... Right, how do you deal with those? Yeah, I mean, that is a way. But the wings are impenetrable. So how do you cut something that's impenetrable? Unless you cut the flesh part and not the wing part, I guess. Some move you trained for before or something? Understanding each other without words? Oh, is Colette gonna be blocking the beams? Right. That's the key here. He's seen the attack, he knows how to deal with it. Gonna summon him a new sword? What's up with the bracelet? The bracelet is significant somehow. Damn, that's a nice sword! And you missed. Or is it just a delayed cut kind of thing? Oh, he did not cut yet. Yeah, smart. Of course. As fiercely competitive as always. That had to hurt at least. Okay, it's unstable. Or maybe not. I thought it's gonna topple over. The gem! Attack the gem! I mean, yes, it literally is a monster. How about a sword? How about a combination of the two? Huh? A crystal? From Elfie! Title drop. And if we didn't have a confirmation that Rosti is Elfie, well, now we have a direct confirmation, basically. What am I seeing? I'm assuming Will's mother? No Wistoria. Yes. Like what? Imbue the crystal into the wand? Into the sword? Or what's with the crystal exactly? Huh. Bakana even. Okay, so he's sucking up the magic into his sword, turning it basically into like a magical device thing. That's cool. Yeah. Cool. Elemental blade. And that is unusual. Yes. Wistoria. Great music. Ignis Vis. Sure. Was that the exact spell that Sion used? Oh, so like Will can store a spell in his sword and then release it. He can't use magic himself, but he can use the magic of others. Good shit. Horrible way to end the episode, though. Fucking atrocious. Where did this episode go? But see, like, things like this is what I mean, that this anime has those, like, sprinkles of originality. It would be so easy to give Will the power of, like, anti-magic, right? Like in Index, like, I think the guy in Black Clover also has, like, an anti-magic sword or whatever, right? It would be so easy to do that. It's often the case that when a character cannot use magic, they can use some sort of anti-magic. They didn't do that! They figured something new, something decently unique, something original. Good shit, as I said. I like it. I really do like it. This whole ending sequence feels kind of wasted, though. Like, not gonna lie. Like, I fully expected to see, like, the bits and pieces of fallout here during this ending segment. But alas, it's not what happened. Yeah, more monsters. Yeah, finally, a duel between them. Tsue to Tsurugi. Indeed. So what is Wistoria here, I wonder? Is the world called Wistoria? I'm not sure. Or is Will, or his kind, called the Wistoria? Ooh, that could be something. Let's watch this episode again, shall we? It was fun. Like, most of it was taken by the fight, so there's not gonna be, like, all that much to talk about. But it was fun. Yeah. That's one strong monster for sure. I like that they decided to retreat and regroup. That's good. Usually when characters in a show are ambushed or attacked by a strong enemy, they just take that enemy on. You don't see it often that the characters escape, run away, regroup, think things through, form a plan, and then face the enemy on their own terms. So I like that. Floor 25, and are near the apex of the evil family of monsters. What's a monster like that doing here? Yeah, probably summoned by the Headless and by Marze, which I don't think we checked their voice actors, or did we? I'm actually not sure. Oh, Marze's voice actor... Headless's voice actor is not listed. Interesting. I wonder if... they didn't list Rosty's voice actor, because it turns out it's Elfie. They're not listing Headless's voice actor. I wonder who could it be? Perhaps someone else of the... Oh, well, I ran out of space for my Wistoria theories. That kind of sucks. I'm gonna have to find some new spot. Alright, found some empty space in the notebook. Headless has a connection with someone that we already know. Headless is connected to someone we know. No, since his VA is unknown, like Rosti's. I wonder who could it be though. Easy bet is someone else of the Magia Wander. And who could it be? I wouldn't suspect Zio of that. I would not suspect Eleanor. I don't think. Certainly not Elfie. Cariot? Maybe, like, he has been vague posting a little about, like, the barrier will break, it's inevitable, right? Like, things like that. Maybe he's an accelerationist, he wants to accelerate the process, I don't know. Also, while looking at the list of characters, I noticed that the teacher with the, like, darkened eyes, right? Like the female teacher we've seen like a couple of episodes back, is named Eliza Nosferat. I wonder if she's a vampire or something of the kind. Regardless, it's interesting that the Headless has no VA listed. We haven't looked at Martz's VA though. That's Nobuhiko Okamoto, who also voiced Bakugo in Boku no Hero Academia, Suzuki in Isekai Shikkaku, Yohei in Konosuke wa Fukanzen, Sugiru, more Bakugo. Who else do I recognize here? Popko in Pop Tepi Peak, but who hasn't voiced Popko in Pop Tepi Peak? Pretty much everybody had a chance to do that. Takao in Takagi-san, that I have not seen. Someone in Fate, Yang King, or Yan Ching, I think that's pronounced. Someone in Hataraku Saibo, Loga in Danmachi, Bete Loga, Accelerator in Toaru Kagaku no Railgun, and I'm assuming other bits of the Toaru franchise as well. And plenty of other roles. Yeah, mostly Bakugo and Accelerator, from what I can tell. Alright, let's continue. Looking for us. Evil guards and evil sentinels. Grand Duke is commanding them. It's ordered them to find us. Are we implying there's no escape? Right. Despair is trying to smother our spirits. Yep. Despair is a slow and, well, that's not how the quote goes. But you know what I was going for. Our only recourse is to slay the Grand Duke. Sure. I mean, it is a safe assumption that to get past the boss, you gotta kill the boss, right? And even even if just killing the Duke does not, like, make the other monsters despawn or go back to their floor or something like that, it's still gonna be easier, because without the Duke here, they can just go through the Guardians and Sentinels and whatever and defeat them as they see fit, without the risk of Duke just randomly arriving, right? Being called by the other monsters. It's just gonna be those monsters without the threat of the Duke. So it makes sense, but Right, but I'm not sure about the connection with the boss being warped via a gate. Like, I'm not sure. Like, she seems to be like implying that by slaying the boss, all the monsters go whence they came. But I don't think that's how it works. Do you really think we can beat that thing all on our own? No, no, of course not. We need you, Julius. Yeah, it's not like I'm going along with what the laggard is saying. I happened to have the exact same plan, actually. I'm surprised that the laggard came up with the exact same plan that I did have. So, of course, I agree with it. I have allowed him to touch me. You weren't meant to be our shield, you were meant to be our leader. They really are building up yeah, they really are building up the sort of like dynamic, like in the future, right? Like have like 20 years time skip or whatever of Will being the king at the top and all the members of his team being like the generals or the equivalent of that, right? It's they're really building something like that here. It's cool. It's cool. I like it. We shall follow your lead. Yeah, you're right. We can't win with my plan alone. We need you. What's the best way to get to someone this haughty and so full of himself? Well, tell them that all the entire plan just hinges on them. They're gonna get a nice ego boost, and of course they're gonna go with it. That's a very long incantation. This is cool. This is cool that the clones can keep an incantation going. That is of much benefit in combat. Like, for sure. I was actually questioning, like, how can incantations like that be even used in combat reasonably, right? Like, you stand there for 5 minutes incanting and swinging your wand or whatever, and by the time you're done, the enemy army just kind of marched away, or you were already shot 20 times by an archer or whatever, right? Which, I mean, in a battle sort of scenario, I can see the mage preemptively stacking up shields or having a team of other mages who would be casting like lesser spells that take less time or something like that, sure. But in a duel of a like wizard versus wizard, there would be that balance to be struck between a long incantation and stronger spell versus a shorter incantation, but you can cast more spells in the same time. I wonder if it balances out. I wonder if a spell that takes twice as long as another spell to chant is actually like twice as powerful, or does it scale differently, or whatever. Interesting topics. What's that Will is breaking here? Sounded vaguely like glass, ice, maybe. I don't know what this thing is supposed to be. Advice can pick up from where the double left off. Is it like bread or some sort of food? Is he sharing food with Julius? Maybe. Yeah, using those clones in combat would be like meow. My cat just arrived and wants attention, apparently. What do you want? I'm busy right now. Yeah, those clones are actually like super helpful in combat, right? Because, I mean, that's exactly how they use them. Set up a bunch of those clones, start chanting, and your enemy doesn't know which one is the real one, and by the time they're done destroying all of your clones, presumably the chant is done, right? Super cool. super cool magic that Elfie discovered. Defender of the Maiden Narcia's gravestone. Yeah, big spell, but not big enough, apparently. Yeah, it did embed shards of ice in him. Like, granted, it did manage to... Are they embedded in him? Oh no, those are not shards of ice. Those are like his spikes, right? Did he have them before? Kinda, sorta? I'm not sure, actually. My cat is still here and meowing incessantly. I'm actually not sure if they're shards of ice. I think they are. I think they are, actually. So yeah, good spell, big spell, but not quite big enough. What do you want? She just keeps meowing. Come here. Come here. And now she ran away. Now that I wanted to pick her up, she ran away. Ah, god damn it. Right, where were we? I thought the plan was that, okay, Julius's shards are not gonna do much, presumably, like they're gonna embed themselves in the enemy, but that's about it. But now Liana can use her thunder magic, and ice or water will conduct electricity, and it's gonna, like, electrocute the enemy from the inside or something. And she's back. And she's back meowing at me. Come here. And she ran away again. God damn it. Can I not get the recording done in peace? Please. But no, apparently not. Apparently the idea was to slow his maneuverability down with ice magic, which, I mean, makes sense. And hopefully Liana would be able to outmaneuver him when he's slowed down. Yeah. Unfortunately, barrier. Smart thinking on the part of, I'm just gonna call them... I'm gonna have to reactivate the camera because it started blinking. I'm just gonna call them Gematria. Like, we don't have a, like, common name for the Headless and for Marze, but Headless really reminds me of Gematria from Blue Archive, so I'm just gonna call them Gematria. Smart thing they did, right? Like, they were pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that they were pretty sure of the Duke just easily winning this fight, but, you know, just in case. Just in case, give him some shields. Cool. They're not stupid. Love to see a villain who's not stupid. Yeah, the goggles. Shattered and broke, and fell off his head to boot. Yeah, it really was more the loss of the goggles that hit Will here, rather than like the hit himself, the hit itself. Right, that's what I wanted to see. 7 basic magical attributes: dark, fire, wind, earth, lightning, water, and light. We have not seen light magic. We have not seen dark magic. Well, we have seen dark magic because Eddie can use that and Gematria can use it. We have not seen light. I wonder if Colette might be a light magic user. Colette is a light magic user, or double with earth, right? Because that bracelet really, like, always makes me wonder, always makes me think, what's the deal with the bracelet? My first instinct is that it's some sort of a limiter or something, right? Like, maybe she was born with light and earth magic, both, but light magic is rare and, I don't know, people are scared of it or whatever, so they are suppressing her light magic, and either the suppressed light magic manifests as earth magic, or the earth magic is left out of the like dual magic that she possesses. I wonder because it really makes me think. But to ask such rudimentary questions about elementary subjects at this point, it seems to me you ought to re-educate yourself beginning with freshman year. Now drill these next words into your head, you who are only concerned with seeking entertainment. The genesis of the attributes is not light, it's darkness. Oh. Well, that's interesting. What could he possibly mean by that? The genesis of all the attributes is darkness. So dark magic would be like that primal magic, right? Well, maybe not primal, but like prime magic, the raw magic, raw power, raw strength. That's dark magic. And that was refined into the other attributes? Interesting. I wonder if magic is not perhaps something that people kind of got from the like enemy that attacked them, right? That's behind the barrier, right? The enemy attacked humanity. Humanity had no way of defending themselves, but they figured how to use some of the power of the invader against them. And that's how they devised magic. Originally just dark magic, but then they refined it into other attributes. Maybe? Maybe. Magic comes from the enemy beyond the barrier. She keeps meowing. I don't know if you can hear that. You know what? I'm gonna do something with her. I'm gonna cut it and be right there. She was busy running away from me. Apparently, she wants to be let out on the like corridor or whatever you call it. But I just went there with her and closed the door to my room. So I'm gonna have some peace and quiet to finish this fucking recording because we're only halfway through and it's already been an hour. What was I? Right, magic comes from the enemy beyond the barrier. Right. Evil Grand Duke. If you encounter one, run. Abandon all hope and optimism. Prayers will not work against demons. Excerpt from a blood-stained note. Prayers. That's interesting. We have not seen the concept of like priests or religion or anything like that in this show yet. I wonder if light magic is like the equivalent of I don't know, God or angels or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Then again, this show really doesn't, this story, this world really doesn't strike me as one that would be explained in like super high detail, right? Like, it's certainly not Seven Spellblades. Because in Seven Spellblades, great show by the way, highly recommend it. The anime actually explained a lot, like down to the details of the history of magic dueling and why are they using the kinds of weapons they are using and what's the like yada, right? Like everything was explained there, and you could tell that everything was like built there and everything existed, everything had a reason to be. And it was explained in even more detail in the source material. The anime cut out large chunks of it actually. And Wistoria really doesn't strike me as this kind. So I think it's just one of the things that we're not supposed to think about. Right? Like they said prayers and just, don't think about it. Don't think about the concepts of like religion in this world or light magic or priesthood or whatever. It's just a word. Don't think deeper about it. Which is what I'm gonna do, or not gonna do rather. Yeah, and they see the fight. He looks shell-shocked, and as I said, it's probably not so much because of the attack, but because of the goggles. Yeah. Take will and run. I must do this. It's because as knights, we are shields to our allies. Of course, I mean, that's a good sentiment to have, a very, like, short-lived sentiment for sure, but yeah, I can see that. Yeah, this, I actually, like, perfectly... Yeah, perfect timing. I thought initially that the Duke is, like, morphing his body to move the gem away, or is, like, I don't know, leveling up to burst or something like that. And it did kind of, like, swell weirdly. Like, look at his right arm. But it was to free himself from the trees. I mean, the effect was the same in the end, right? The gem avoided Liana, and Liana got hit with the scream. But still, all we can do is run. Really? Really, is it all you can do? I need you to slag me. Right, Elfie's goggles are broken. I'm so scared that I can't do anything. Right, so the goggles are less something that Will actually needs, as in they're not there to help his bad eyesight. I mean, maybe they are also there to help his bad eyesight, sure, but their primary function is a reminder, right? Reminder of his goal, reminder of Elfie, reminder of what he's fighting for, right? And when he lost it, he just kind of lost the manifestation of what he's fighting for, right? And that broke him. Understandable, honestly. Sion is not holding back. He's really not holding back. He got his frustrations out, and apparently he's going to be getting his frustrations out in the next episode as well. I'm not trembling anymore. Look after Kiki. He's scared. He's always terrified. Sure. I mean, to a degree. He is scared, but he is brave, right? Bravery is not the lack of fear. Bravery is doing the things you're afraid of despite that fear, right? That's basically the definition of bravery. With Wand, you can cast magic from afar. Sure, you have to battle opponents that are far bigger and stronger. You have to get in there yourself. Have you ever imagined how frightening that must be? Will is a weakling. Now, this bit is not something I fully agree with. Like, sure, in this case, absolutely. Will has the right to be afraid. Will probably is afraid. And compared to the Duke, Will, as he is now, without using this like magic power, is a weakling. Sure, absolutely. But usually, right, when he's fighting the mob enemies, he's not a weakling compared to them. And I really don't think he's that afraid of fighting like, I don't know, 10 points worth Hellhound or 3 points worth floating bat or whatever, right? So I don't fully agree with what Colette is saying here. I really don't, especially with the statement that Will is a weakling. Like, sure, he is weak in the ways of magic, but he's absolutely not weak in like his own terms. He's much stronger physically than any other mage, than any other human, really. And I'm using human as an all-encompassing term for humanoids in this world. He's much more resilient. He's much more agile. He has much better like combat sense and remembers enemy moves and stuff like that, right? He's anything but a weakling, just by different categorization. It's uncharacteristically mobile. Yeah, big, tanky, mobile. Not the easiest to fight. This attack, I've seen it before, of course. Yeah, this really makes me think, the crackling of electricity in particular. Like, Colette's magic is not electricity. Colette's magic is earth. Why does it manifest as electricity? Right? That's a cool scene. Will falling down and getting this sword. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting maybe a little bit more elaborate design of it, but it will do. Okay, so Will just landed. I thought that maybe he cut the Duke, and it's just that one of those like delayed cuts, right? We move to this shot, and then slowly his wings fall off, or slowly he just gets split in two, or right? You know what I'm talking about. But no, apparently not. He grabbed the sword and just did a bit of a hero landing. Sion, of course, back in action. Again, being smart, right? Use his guardian as a shield to allow him to finish the chant. Basically doing what Julius did, but with a single point of failure, for the lack of a better term. There isn't anything you can do that I can't. Watch him. No, of course that wasn't enough. A wand isn't enough. A sword isn't enough. How about a wand sword? A novel concept. Crystal. I'm assuming a crystal of ice. That's like highly specific to Elfie. I don't know. I'm not sure. And here we see this weird flashback. I'm assuming she's meowing by my door. No rest for the wicked. I'm assuming on the left it's Will's mother and young Will. Stop asking, I've made up my mind about giving him up for adoption. Probably. We know that it's Will who was adopted into the Serford family, right? Yeah, it's Will. So she gave him up for adoption. I'm assuming on the right is the mother of the Serford family, right? Like Elfie's biological mother. It's for the sake of protecting this world. Was Will like a destined child or something of the sort? One day, wand and sword will meet and join. Was their plan like, we know that Elfie is destined to be the best wand, and we know that Will is destined to be the best sword. Let's rise them together as siblings so that in the end we can get the wand and the sword together, right? Maybe something like that. Wand and sword, yeah. Will was able to absorb this magic into his sword. No, not enchantment. The sword consumed the spell and then was able to free it later on. His eyes went red. The color of his eyes is absolutely 100% dependent on the magic that resides within his sword. Color of Will's eyes depends on magic in his sword, right? Like if Julius imbued it with ice magic, his eyes would be blue. If Wignall imbued it with wind magic, his eyes would be green, right? But that brings an interesting thing. Normally his eyes are purple. Which magic is purple? Dark magic. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too deep into it, but we know that everything started with the dark magic. So you could say that it's a bit of a wild card, right? Will's magic type is a wild card magic. He can use any kind of magic as long as it's imbued with his sword. He can't use it like on his own, but he can use others' magic powers, right? Will's eyes are purple from dark / primal / origin magic. Yeah, something like that, I think. And this is cool. He keeps the element on the sword, and the spell. Is it the same spell that Ignis Rux and then will cast Ignis Vis? I don't know what Vis translates to, but it's not the same spell. So I wonder if it's like a spell specific to will, basically translating to fire slash or something. And then he has like Gladius Vis and Earth Vis and stuff like that. Initially, I thought that the spell that the sword absorbed is like kept inside of the blade, and Will can just release it at will, right? So he stabs the enemy, releases the spell inside, and the spell gets cast within the enemy, essentially, right? Like injected into the enemy. But that's not it. That's not it. Because this is not the spell that Sion used. It's just the element that Sion used, right? Fire. But the effect is completely different. He just cut the Duke in half. And the end credits here, I really feel like they're wasted. I really feel like it's wasted time. Like, we see this dot in the middle going through all different colors, then eventually stopping at white, which I assume would be like the color of Will's magic or something like that, maybe. But I really think this time would be better spent seeing, I don't know, seeing the students evacuate. Even that, right? Even that would be better. Even seeing the headmistress like smirk or right, like something, because just seeing a black screen after a moment like this, after the big huge reveal of what Will's true power is, really feels wasted, really feels just kind of anticlimactic, really does. And in the next episode, we're gonna fight through the lesser demons, and Will's gonna duel Sion, and hopefully they're gonna fight it out, and they're gonna be the bestest of friends. We'll see about that in the next episode. Right now, though, that's gonna be it. That was a cool episode. Like, there wasn't... No. See, my initial thought was to say that there wasn't all that much to it, right? That it was just the fight. But no, we actually got a fair bit of world building, right? We learned that all kinds of magic have their beginning in dark magic. We learned the like biggest thing here being Will's ability, magic type. I don't even know like what to call it, right? Will's true strength, maybe. It's cool. We learned a lot. A lot was revealed to us, and now, I mean, making Will's team consist of single mage of every single like magic attribute makes perfect sense from just, you know, the narrative standpoint of, well, it's kind of how it works. It's kind of how you do that always. Whenever there's different attributes, different elements or whatever, the main character gets companions of every single element sooner or later, right? But in this context, it makes sense doubly so, because now Will essentially has access to all sorts of elements for his sword. Say they are fighting a fire monster or something. Well, Julius can imbue his sword with water magic, right? That sort of thing, and it's really gonna be cool. There can really be plenty of uses, both narratively and just, in showing that in action for that. I wonder, light magic and dark magic were specifically mentioned. I wonder if we are set for 2 more members of the party. 2 more party members. 1 for dark, 1 for light, right? Like, it would make sense. Unless Will already possesses dark magic, but that doesn't work because we've seen what dark magic can do, right? Ed uses dark magic, Marze uses dark magic, Headless uses dark magic, and Will clearly cannot use that, so it's not gonna be dark magic. Now, light magic, that we have not seen anybody use, I don't think. Right? Huh. Interesting that we've seen much more of dark magic than we've seen of light magic, isn't it? Usually it's the dark magic that's kept like securely under wraps in some old grimoire underground, and only like 3 people in the world know it, and every single one of them is evil or something like that. Meanwhile, light magic is something that the headmaster uses, or I don't know, the childhood friend, or our main character, right? It's usually how it goes. But here we have not seen anything of light magic. Unless we have seen it and I just forgot. Which is not out of the question. Very cool. Very cool episode. Really just answered some really like long-standing questions, like about who the fuck is Rosti. Now we know for sure that he's essentially Elfie, or Elfie's avatar, or whatever you want to call it. It answered the question about, Will's power, I guess, although that wasn't really ever a question. Like, his power was always the physical attacks, essentially, but now he basically got a power up. And I actually like this kind of a power up. I actually do. I was basically certain that Will is gonna get a power up sooner or later. He's gonna get some ability to use magic. But this is actually executed well because it doesn't undermine his ability, right? He still uses the sword. It just gives that sword an elemental attribute and a nice boost to damage. Not only that, but Will cannot do it himself. He can't just say flame and his sword sets ablaze. He can't just say ice and his sword gets covered in ice, right? He needs like magic cast from the outside, and that's a very cool limitation. Say he goes somewhere with Colette and they get trapped. Well, Sion isn't with them, so Will has no access to fire magic. Julius isn't with them, so he has no access to ice magic, right? It really works well. I really actually like the way they did the power up for Will. Anything else? I think that's it. I'm gonna have to check up on my cat because I heard some plates clanking, and I'm not sure if she broke something or is she just angry because she's hungry. But yeah, this recording was a mess because of my cat again, but I really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did too. And I hope that you're gonna be waiting for the next episode or the finale coming next week. And the next week, probably as well, we're gonna be running the seasonal stream, or maybe the week after that. I don't know. You're gonna know about it ahead of time for sure. But ahead of time, I'm gonna say you. Great English there. I'm gonna say that I would like to see you there. As always, as every single season, it's always a lot of fun going through the shows of the next season, seeing what they are. But with all of that, I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode. my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? If so, say so in the comments down below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Wistoria, but also Spice and Wolf, QA, Isekai Shikaku, plenty others coming in the future. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows, and for $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. On YouTube you can support me through memberships, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And I forgot to tell you to click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do sometimes, like this seasonal stream we're planning. And also no spoilers, please. You can leave spoilers on the Discord if you'd like, but not in the comments, please. And now we'll follow that out of the way. That's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without an Edge, Rene, Sam Greenwood, Yuki, Ally, Dr. Wood, Iconosa, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to have your goggles broken.